Is the Google Ads certification even worth it? This is a hot topic in my community. Lots of people are asking if they should even be spending time to become Google Ads certified. And my opinion on the Google Ads certification has changed a lot over the past couple of years. And I'm going to share my opinion and perspective on it, as well as share the specifics of the Google Ads certification and what's required of it in this video. And if you're new here, my name is Michelle. I'm the founder of Level 28 Media, and I help local service-based businesses generate leads through Google Ads. So if you are looking for an audit or managed services and you're spending at least $2,000 a month, check out the link below and I'd be more than happy to have a discussion with you. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the online training certifications that Google has. So if you go to skillshop.withgoogle.com, which is where I'm at, you're going to see that there's a lot of Google tools with training available. And just so everyone knows, these are completely free resources. You don't have to pay any money for them. When you click on the Google Ad certification, it takes you to Google Skill Shop. And basically what this is, it's a e-learning platform where you can get certified. And they train you on all different aspects of Google Ads, Google Analytics 4, Google Marketing Platform, blah, blah, blah. But for the sake of this video, we're only going to be talking about Google Ads because that's all I really have. Well, I actually have had experience with Google Analytics, but I'm only going to be talking about Google Ads specifically because you're watching this because you want to know, is the Google Ads certification even worth it as it stands today, currently, and my opinion on it. But when you get here, there's a bunch of different certifications that you can take within Google Ads. Google Ads, as you may or may not know, has a lot of different type of campaigns. There's display, there's search, there's AI-powered shopping. It's called AI-powered shopping, but I just call it shopping. Measurement certification, app certification. And they break it all up into different chunks so that it's easy to digest because they all are their own discipline to a certain extent. So if you master search, you have not touched or mastered anything on shopping. But what is my personal take on this? Actually, let me explain how it works. So you click on what you want to learn, and then it will give you a time estimate of how long the lessons take. And then there will be quizzes as well as the actual certification test at the very end. It's all completely free as of now. Back then when I was taking the test, and there was only, I think there were 2 tests at that time, but this is probably like a decade ago when I first got started with Google Ads. You had to pay $50 every time to take a test, and I think you needed at least like a 80% like passing rate. I don't know what it is today, but I'm sure a quick Google will help you determine that. But I'm going to answer whether I think it's worthwhile or not. From my perspective, as it stands today, and I'm filming this video at the end of 2024, so my opinion won't change that much. I don't think it's going to change that much over the next year or even longer. But as it stands today, I think that the Google Ad certification it's just enough to teach you the fundamentals of Google Ads. So if you have absolutely no experience, if you're a student watching this video and you want to gain some knowledge on Google Ads, or if you are an advertiser and you have no experience whatsoever, I think it's worth trying. I think it's worth exploring. But, and I'm saying but because you need to hear this, take a lot of the information that they give you as they're teaching you with a grain of salt. I hate to say this, but what I found is that the Google information that's being shared within the e-learning courses tends to be very biased towards Google. And they might give you a question, and I'm going to just give you an example here just so that you understand. They might ask you, well, if you encounter a a notification in your Google Ads account saying limited by budget, what should you do? And of course, Google wants you to increase your budget. That's what Google wants you to do. But in the real world, that might not necessarily be what's available to you. You might not have the ability to increase your budget. So when you're taking the certification test and the quizzes and whatever else is included in the certification, just be mindful that the answers that Google wants you to choose that are correct are actually geared to in favor of Google. So what you're learning here within the Google Ads certification is what Google wants you to learn in order to spend more on their platform. And I hate to say the word brainwash, but I do think that there is some brainwashing to a certain extent in terms of getting you to think that specific answers are the right answers, but they may not be the right answers in the real world, but they're the right answers for Google. So when I would take the test back in the day, and I'm going to fully admit that I have not kept up on my Google Ad certifications in quite a bit of time because I just haven't found it to be helpful. But the last time I took the certification test, I always had to question the answers that I was choosing because I had to put on the hat and think, well, what's the answer that Google wants me to choose? I know what the right answer is because I've been doing this for 10 years. But in order to pass this test, I need to tell Google what Google wants to hear from me. And I always had to question because I knew that the answer that I was going to choose was the incorrect one. But I know what Google wants me to choose, so that's what I choose, and then that's where I'm right. So as you're taking the test, just be mindful of that as you're learning. I think it's a decent place to start, but take a lot of what they tell you with a grain of salt because in the real world, it might not translate exactly. And just like with learning how to drive, you can't just learn how to drive from reading the DMV manual or watching YouTube videos. You need to learn through actual real world application. And that's where I learned my Google Ads skill set. It was beyond reading Perry Marshall's book on Google Ads and also taking the certification way back in the day when it actually was more useful. Now it's definitely been geared more towards getting you to be biased or written in a way that's more biased towards Google. Back then it wasn't. When I first started, but over time, as I was refreshing my certification every few years because it would expire, I just realized that the test became more and more diluted with information that made you think that you always needed to start with a certain bid strategy or you always need to increase your budget by a certain amount when you hit the specific threshold. And the thing is, memorizing is only going to take you so far. Memorizing is not going to get you results. Memorizing the definition of click-through rate, conversion rate, and whatever, impression share, is not going to allow you to run a successful Google Ads campaign. Yes, having that information is going to be helpful, but the truth of the matter is in the real world, if you're running into an issue, you can just quickly Google a search and try to figure out the definition of it based off of a quick Google search. What I'm trying to get at here is the real world application is so much more impactful. If you want to learn Google Ads, I think the best way is just by managing Google accounts. So if you are a student and you're watching this video and you're trying to decide whether you should get certified, from a perspective and of someone that has gone through it, I think it's worthwhile to get it, but don't expect to be entitled to a job right after you get the certification. That's just the bare minimum. That just shows an employer that you are willing to take the initiative to do the certification. And quite frankly, I'm going to just say it right here, that the answers to the tests are actually all online. So you can just Google the answers to the test and you can pass it. So that's why from an employer's perspective, and when I'm looking to hire for my business, I do not go based off of certifications. I actually go based off of how people think. So I'll give someone a actual Google Ads account with data in it and ask them questions, live questions, just to test to see how they think on the spot, because that tells me how they can respond in certain situations. And just to change the topic just slightly, I had a client reach out to me telling me, "Oh, I'm Google Ads certified," and he was bragging about it. But at the same time, when he had an issue with his Google Ads campaign, like he wasn't getting any conversions, or he wasn't getting that many clicks, or he didn't know how to control his ad spend. He was spending $500 a day and he wasn't getting anything. He's asking me for help. And I'm the person that hasn't been keeping up with my certifications, and he says that he is certified. So that's what I wanted to get at, is just because someone's certified doesn't mean that when they hit the real world problem, they know how to solve the issues. And quite frankly, the certification is enough. If you're going to do it the right way and not cheat and just, and look through the information and learn, that's what I would recommend. If you don't have any budget to pay for a course or whatever, I think it's okay to look at just for some basic information, but it's not going to be enough these days to immediately get a job out of college, or enough for you to actually succeed with Google Ads and actually get strong return on investment from your Google Ads. The real results come from real application, actually getting behind the wheel and driving. And unfortunately, I have to say this, you're going to have to hit a few cars, or, spend budget and waste budget in order to actually learn and get better results. There's no way to avoid that. That's just the rite of passage with anyone that's managing Google Ads. You're going to have to waste money in order to learn. And hopefully through that, you gain quite a bit of experience so that in the future, you're at a point like me where you're looking at things on the account and you're seeing something wrong and you're like, okay, that's wrong. Okay, I need to fix it. Or, whoa, how come that happened? Okay, I need to address it and see what I can do to improve the performance. But it takes a lot of personal training and going through a real world experience time over time and actually making mistakes to then learn. So then when you've come to a point of actually been doing it so many times, you know exactly what needs to be done in order to fix it. So all in all, and this is quite a bit of a long explanation, this Google Ads certification is decent if you have zero knowledge of Google Ads and you just want to learn. But if you're going to cheat your way through it just to get the certification, it's not going to do you any good, because what's going to happen is, yes, you might have the certification that you can put on your LinkedIn profile or share with a prospective employer, but when you're actually thrown into the ring, you're not going to know how to fight. And that's why as an employer and someone who's been running Google Ads for quite some time, I take Google Ads certifications with a grain of salt. And because this industry, there's really no regulation, and that's why there's no barrier to entry. I don't look at things like the certification necessarily. The way that I look at the Google certification, it's almost kind of like a degree, like a college degree. Sure, it's good to have, but that's not enough. Like I need someone that is, eager, that's going to learn, that maybe, if I'm looking for someone that's more mid to senior level, needs to have real world experience. But if I'm looking for someone junior, I can't expect them to have the experience. So having the certification is good, but I really would take it with a grain of salt, because even if someone has a Google certification, doesn't mean that they're going to be able to be thrown in and know exactly how to operate an account. So I want to hear your opinion. Do you agree with me? And I would just love to know. If you disagree, I would love to know too. Just share your comments below. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, as well as subscribe to this channel. I post videos every week on Google Ads, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you.